Hello and welcome to episode 24, part 2 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This episode of course is continuing on with the Animal Enclosure, and we're going to be putting 8 gates. I decided 8 gates excuse me. We will be placing down 8 gates, and all will become clear as we progress. So, why am I starting at the forge, you are asking? Well, we're going to be making iron gates. I know I said stone gates, but that's because you need 10 bricks and an iron fence bar in order to make the gates. So, although they are mainly stone, made of stone bricks, they are in fact called iron fence gates. Because they last longer than most of the other gates. I heard once, many years ago, someone say that the wooden palisades gates last longer, but I just like the iron fence gates, and you will see why, because they're the same height as the low stone walls nearly, and they look nicer. So we're starting here at the forge because we need to make some iron fence bars. So what we'll do now, to make an iron fence bar, I will of course continue on as I have, and that is to show you how to make at least one of each new item. Bricks we've already made, so we have them already in the large cart, and this is now what we've got to make, an iron fence bar. Fence bar, iron, whatever way you want to put it around. Okay, so we need a minimum though of 6 kilograms to make one. So what we'll do, I've already been prepared and heated to load up, so let's combine that. You will fail a lot, as I did, and I run out of iron, so then I had to go back and get more iron and smelt that down, and then so here we are. Thankfully I did that off camera. Oh, I so learn my lessons in this game. Right, okay, so let's get started. This is going to be a short episode, so I am going to share a story with you in this one which a couple of reasons why I'm sharing it with you. One, because John made a lovely comment in the paving episode, I believe it was. Thank you, John, for the comment. A lovely comment mentioning, I'll get to it in a moment. Let's do this fence bar. I'll get to my story. Right, okay, so let's go to the recipes, and you just type in fence bars. There's our fence bars. Have the iron lump in your pocket, right click and add, and notice we've done this before, it shows you that excuse me, shows you that icon. Just means we're going to be using the large anvil for this, which it does tell us here. So right click on the anvil, add to the crafting window. You've seen me do that before, but there we are. You definitely know. Okay, make sure the fence bars are selected. Notice that it's only a 33% chance of successfully doing this, so we're going to fail. That's why I've got a lot more than 6 kilograms. Okay, let's go to create. I'll create a few. I don't care if I do extra, but I'm probably going to fail. Oh no, look, there we go, first straight away. Great, so we've got our iron fence bar. Okay, in fact we got a few. So good, jolly good. Okay, we'll put the iron away. That's all we're doing here, just to quickly make that. I've already, as you can see, got the bricks. I've shown you how to make bricks. We don't need to waste time with that. So what we'll do, we'll continue on. Okay. So we are of course finishing this enclosure. Now, before I go in there, I asked you a couple of questions at the end of the last episode. I've actually thought of one more question. You would have noticed in that video there was mainly just dirt in this new enclosure. So question number 1, a new question. What's the different ways that I can put grass in there to fill up all the dirt tiles with grass? I've shown you already, but let's just test your memories. Second question was, I'll rephrase the question just in case it wasn't a clear question for you to understand. What is the minimum amount of tiles that you need to allocate for each animal? that answers the question to how big you should make them little pens that I'm making. Okay, and the second question, which is actually now the third question, without trying to confuse you, because I'm already lost, I'm confused completely, but I'm going to try and carry on. Yes, the third question was, why am I doing that? Why am I complicating everything? Why am I making myself go into utter confusion all the time? Okay, so there we go, look at that. We got some walls up. We're just missing all of our fences, our gates. Oh, you'll notice I do that quite often as well. I'll be talking about something and calling it completely the wrong name. And I cross my fingers when I watch some of them that I actually get to say correctly at least once what I'm trying to explain to you. It happens. It's called getting older. So anyway, right, before I go into that leads me nicely to my story before I begin. We are going to put the gate just here, so let's line up the cart and then tell you a little story. Okay, so John commented on when I'd mentioned before about getting lost. Oh, I've been lost so many times in this game, it's not even funny. But let's tell you about just one of the times. Me and Rainstorm used to, as you know by now because I've mentioned it lots of times, we used to travel around a lot. The reason for that is because obviously either where we settled we didn't like, or someone else didn't like us. Because Wurm does that to you. You want all the world to yourself. You want to be able to landscape it all and craft it all to your own liking. I was going to say megalomaniac ways, but I don't know if that makes sense. So I would just say to your own liking. So we had to keep moving, because wherever we would go, whether we liked it, then there'd be someone else there that liked it more than us, who had been there longer than us, or at least claimed to. And we're not the sort to want to upset people, so we'd move on. So we moved a lot. Trust me on that. We moved a lot. I mean, I was moving a lot before Brainstorm even joined me. But that's another story I'll tell you about later on in these episodes. Anyway, sorry. So we moved a lot. And we moved to this new server. Believe it was Independence. And we found what we hoped was the most remotest spot on that server. And trust me, it was remote. They'd recently opened up, Code Club AB had recently opened up another new server. So a lot of people were going to try that new server, which meant this Independence server had become depopularised. Lots of people had left it, which meant that it really was even more deserted. So anyway, we found a good spot. And one day I decided that we needed some wood and we needed some flowers. So I left Rainstorm in the pen doing whatever it was that she needed to do, and off I plodded to gather up some flowers and some saplings from the trees. So I'm walking along, and as you do in your late 40s, I guess, picking flowers and picking sprats. And every time I'd see a new tree, I'd think, oh yeah, we need one of them. So I'd run a bit further in to get it. And bear in mind, the landscape was not like this, flat. There was trees, thick forest, there was hills. I was tumbling down and injuring myself. My health was going down. I just keep seeing more and more saplings that I want to collect, or different coloured flowers, thinking, oh yeah, we can do something with that. And I'm getting lost in my thoughts about all what I want to do and gather. And I'm getting, and like, I mean, bear in mind, in Wurm, okay, Wurm Online, you can wander for 10 minutes and get completely lost. I guess I must have been wandering for an hour because my pockets were getting full. And then all of a sudden, of course, the idiot that I am, the thought occurs to me, where am I? And of course, I am just complete and utterly lost. Complete and utterly lost. I mean, I don't even know if I had a compass. It wouldn't have made no difference because I couldn't see further than a few tiles. There was mountains, there was everything. And the only thing I could think to do was to call to Rainstorm to ask her to help me find where I was. Now, come on, how stupid is that? We're both new to the server, we're both in a new location, and I'm asking her to help me find myself. I mean, doesn't that even sound funny in itself? So basically, she has a good laugh at that, which any normal human being would. So out of desperation, I don't know whether it was Rainstorm suggesting it or myself having this idea, I decided to ask the server, the few people that are left on it, if any of them can help me. Not that they know where I am. Well, yes, if they know where I am. And of course, I'm telling them about mountains in the distance and trees. So obviously, I then incur the ridicule of the whole population of that server. Because here's someone asking in the channel for that server, where am I? And can you help me get home? And of course, as luck would have it though, there was some really nice people on there. Now, I ended up, I don't know how many hours I was walking for, minimum of 5 hours. I kid you not, I was walking for about 5 hours. I hit a road eventually. That was my logic. My only little bit of logic that I gathered was if I keep walking in one direction, I'm going to hit water, so I can then walk around the outside of the server, or I'm going to hit a road. As luck would have it, I hit a road and see the sea. So I told everyone on the server that, and there were some very nice people who actually weren't that far away, and I kept walking and I got a name of their deed and they helped me. So 5 hours or 6 hours later, I got back to where I started. So there we are. I thought I would share that with you. One of my moments of stupidity. There we go. I better carry on, otherwise I'm going to end up talking for all this time and doing nothing as usual. So here we go. Let's get started on our fence gate. I hope you enjoyed my moments of stupidity. Okay, so we need 1 fence bar and we need 10 bricks. Oh, I could probably tell you a story for every single item in this game and something stupid that I have done. I do come from the planet Stupid, not from Earth, from the planet Stupid. It has a village called Village of Stupid People, and I'm sure if I lived in the previous life I would have been the village idiot. And I'm quite sure I would have set up a basket by the village stocks and filled it with turnips and probably tied myself into them stocks and then started throwing turnips at my own head. That's the level of stupidity we can achieve. But it's not easy. It takes years of practice. So let's make this iron fence gate. Here we go. Right, notice that it doesn't put a structure across, so don't be fooled into thinking you haven't just done anything, unless I failed. No, I did lay the foundation. Here it is, just here. So now what we need to do, right click, add to the crafting window, and we now will drop our mallet. You're not going to catch me out this time, game. I am going to engage the little bit of brain that I've got. We'll put that there and, oh, please continue. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, it's all good. So we'll go through, you'll see it tells us what we need up here and you'll see the components being used. But this is my favourite fence gate to use. 1, it lasts a very, very long time. 2, it matches with what we're doing. As in the low stone wall, so it will be a low fence, as you're about to see. Oh, it wants to fail this. There we go. Excellent. Let's stand back a bit, as I normally like to do, and let's take a look. So, minimize, minimize. Oh, that's one of my past tries at creating a cart. Forgive that, is somewhat blocking the view, but you can see. I'll do another one anyway. So there we are, lovely iron fence gate. As you can see, perfectly matches with the walls. It will last a very long time before it rots. You need a brick in order to repair it. When you use a brick, it will repair 10 damage on the gate. So there we are, a little bit of extra information for you. Okay, let's get these gates done and then we can get to seeing if your answers were correct. I don't know how long I was talking a minute ago. I hope it wasn't too long. I really do. I just get lost, and with time I get lost. That's why I have to set that timer. I have no concept of time. Well, why am I telling you that? You already realised that. Okay, let's do another one. Please forgive me if you've already seen this and you don't want to see any more. Then you can just skip. It's okay. But you will be skipping some information that I'm going to give to you. Right, let's grab... Oh, wait, now I can just drop them in because I can only carry 10. Okay, so off we go again. Mallet activated. Oh, I do hope as well that this is where the fence gates rainstorm wanted to be. Otherwise, we're going to not be seeing a rainstorm. We're going to be seeing a thunderstorm. Right, okay, here we go. I nearly clicked on the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah, no, that is the right one. Cool. I have to be so careful. I'm talking, I'm thinking about what I've got to do. I'm just, so much information is rolling around up there, and it is a big hollow space. Right, okay, so let's continue. Doesn't take long though. As you can see, it doesn't take long at all. But how fantastic is this? Once this gate is on, this pen is then secured. I just need to do these, which we'll get to next. And then I shall explain about them, which I'm sure you've been waiting for. Okay, there we go. Our gate is done. Because I'm close to it, you notice the gates open when you get close. Okay, let's get back on the cart. So we've secured our pen. Not from trolls, but we've secured from animals leaving it. Okay, so why did I do all of these little mini pens inside of my animal enclosure? Well, first question was what size? As you can see, I've done 2. That should be the minimum. Ideally though, what you would do is you would do 3 tiles. With 2 tiles, okay, the reason is for doing these, well, first answer is you do a minimum of 2 tiles. That's what you need for each individual animal. So well done if you got that correct. The second question, or excuse me, depending on which episode part, the third question, if it's this one, was why? Well, quite simply, when your animals get diseased, which we've been very lucky with all the crowding in that other pen that they haven't, but when they get diseased, you need to separate them. If you don't, the disease will spread. Animals will then die. So what we do is when an animal gets diseased, we pull it in one of these pens, and then we groom it all the time as much as we can. We keep it well fed. Fingers crossed, it then gets healed. When it's healed, we let it back out. So there we go. So it wasn't a pointless reason for me doing all of this. Let's put a couple of gates on and show you how it looks. Yeah, ideally though, you would have more than 2 tiles. Why? You'd have 3 or 4, because when leading a big animal like a bull or a cow, it gets a little difficult sometimes to get them inside of the gate. So by having 3, you can walk them far enough in without it getting tricky. Oh, you'll see what I mean when you build one. Right, okay, so no, we want iron. And we want a gate. Okay. Here we go. So I'll just do a couple and then we'll call it a day. I'm not sure how long it's been, hopefully not too long. I apologise for those of you that... I know some of you do like my stories, but for those of you that don't, you're just here for information. I appreciate that, and I apologise for waffling on. See, everyone is different, where some of you want to hear that, some of you don't. So I'll try and find a balance. But it is nice to share, you know, some of the past things that have happened to me in Rainstorm. 1, they are quite amusing, and 2, hopefully it will stop you doing the same mistake, more importantly than anything else. My bad experience will enable you to have good experience. Why is the gate getting in my way? The cart. Okay, let's do one more. Then I am very happy that you know how to make iron gates. I'm sure even if I watched this, I'd stop being confused eventually and get it. Okay, so here we go. Notice you can do tall ones, but it won't look right, so that's why I've stuck to doing the smaller ones. And what I will do, excuse me, sorry. What I will do when I've finished this gate, I'll quickly go to Wurmpedia because there was a few notes I just want to read to you just to finish off this enclosure. But how fantastic. I can now go gather up loads of animals. I can start breeding. You can start breeding when you've got a big pen like this. And we can start accumulating all the components I'll need for the healing episode and all the components for the cooking episode. We can start to use some of the eggs that we've been getting, and we've been getting a lot for the cooking as well. Also, I can start smithing some of the utensils we need, so it's all looking good. But first, we do need to breed some animals, get some breeding done. I'm probably going to have to help Rainstorm with her land bridge as well, so I can do the deed episode. Oh, my throat's really going in this one, that's for sure. Yeah, so we need to finish the land bridge so we can get access to more materials. And just enable me to do many more episodes for you. But here we go, look at that. Isn't this looking good? So there's a good size for a pen. It's not ideal. My ideal one would be huge, as you're going to see. But don't worry, I won't make you sit through that. You know how to make the low stone walls, so no point in me doing that again. But I will make a huge one and then show you it, just to show you how silly I can be. But this is definitely good enough. And did you think of the answer? Of course, flowers will get us grass, saplings will get us grass, which someone mentioned previously. Sorry, I forget who you was, but someone mentioned saplings, flowers, and of course you can plant grass to make what was it called over there? No, it wasn't marsh. I've forgotten. I'm not going there. Let's go to Wurmpedia instead, shall we? Right, okay. The 3 notes that I wanted to read to you before we finish are, and this is straight from Wurmpedia. Repair iron fence gates with bricks. Each brick will repair 10 damage. Oh, I did remember that, so I've mentioned that already. Once iron fence gates reach 60 damage, the iron fence bars will turn rusty in colour. Well, do you remember that barrel I showed you in a previous episode where it had rotted to 48% and it changed its texture? Well, it's the same with the gates, the iron gates. When they get highly damaged, like that said, 60%, it will rust over. I mean, how fantastic is that? Eh? So you can visually see when you need to repair something. Just utter brilliance. Okay, and lastly, intelligent monsters, for example trolls, can open and unlock gate. And that's reading from Wurmpedia. Well, yeah, I have mentioned our friendly trolls, or not so friendly. But, and I know you're probably every time I mention this are saying, then why haven't you, Gamester, shown us locksmithing yet? There is a very good reason. I wish I could have shown you that when I finished making the very first enclosure. You will have to trust me that there's a very good reason why I haven't done a locksmithing episode yet. I need to find copper. Once I find copper, then we can delight in making locks. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope that it's been a good balance for you. Information and my stupidity. What can I say? Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and have a fantastic day. And thank you for every 1 second of precious time you have given to this old fool. Goodbye.